When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world.
I'd buy that for $1.
This looks like a good place to hide out. What's this down here? Thankskilling 3. What do I gotta do to do a little murder around here? Oh, well.
Thankskilling 3. Haven't watched that in a while. But I don't know how this got here. Well, maybe I'll do a review. But first, maybe a little bit of a revisitation to the original Thankskilling. Greetings. I'm SeptumSin, and you're watching SeptumSin versus the World. It has been a good long time since we have gotten together for a nice movie review, and an even longer time not since my blog have I reviewed the original Thankskilling. If I'm going to come up with the third film, we gotta get back and revisit where it all started. The original Thankskilling. So, Thankskilling was a film that I discovered with our gaming group. We like to try and watch ridiculous films, fun films, things to get us into the game. Before we would have a night of mirth and fun. And yes, I was one of those type of gamers, in case you're wondering. Well, we discovered this ridiculous film called Thankskilling. And I immediately fell in love with the concept. I am a unique individual in the fact that I love the absurd. If you've seen some of the films that I have had a weird interest in on this, you would understand.
Gentlemen, Ciccolini here may talk like an idiot and look like an idiot, but don't let that fool you. He really is an idiot.
I am one of the few people who really loves Bobobo as a series. And that's a good example as to why I am enticed by the greatness that is Thankskilling. Well, let's start with just a brief summary. Thankskilling follows a group of your standard horror movie tropes. The jock, the nerd, the kind of party guy, friend, redneck dude, fat guy, the survivor girl, and the slut. They're all going together to celebrate Thanksgiving on their Thanksgiving holiday from college. Unfortunately for them, it's been exactly 505 years since the original curse was placed on their hometown. A curse that would lead to a murderous rampage by a killer turkey. Well, that is essentially Thankskilling. Well, on normal, this is a DVD review. Of course, my DVD has been loaned out, but it does have a very similar look and design to this one here. It's just sort of yellowish, and again, it shows, boobs in the first second is advertised on the cover. So classy stuff, indeed. It comes with a few things like a trailer and a full-length commentary and a blooper reel. The blooper reel is nothing hugely special, but the commentary is quite insightful, and I do recommend anybody who owns this to go ahead and check out the commentary. It gives you some insight into what the filmmakers were thinking when they made this film.
Who knows where thoughts come from? They just appear.
How they made the film with such a shoestring budget, I'd say about $3,500, and it's only 60 minutes, and I can watch a 60-minute commentary. So let's start with the good. Well, Thankskilling is pretty much a parody of modern-day horror movies. It is a legit attempt to purposefully recreate the usual accidental, so bad it's good formula.
You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Many consider the jokes falling flat, but there are many of us who have that are part of this cult following that the film has managed to garner over the years. And because of that, we get to enjoy the film's many, well, bad jokes. To me, looking at the way that this was portrayed, acted, and carried out for a B film, and purposefully badly acted in many cases, it made the film much funnier the way it was done and the way it was handled. Personally, I don't know if this film could have worked any other way. The character design on the monster is kinda trashy, but that's the thing that works. It's meant to look fake, it's meant to look a little bit stupid, and it's meant to be juvenile. And Turkey is indeed a fun and favorite villain. Just the one-liners alone are well worth the price of admission.
Gobble gobble, motherfucker. I'm gonna drink your blood like cranberry sauce, meanie. Oh, fuck. I'm pissed. Nice tits, bitch. You just got stuffed.
But let's talk about the soundtrack. Now, there's some stupid little songs in there, but I really do like the main theme for the film. It has this kind of synthiness to it, and adds in a few horror tones to the theme, which makes it very memorable and kind of enjoyable when you're doing the movie overall. Of course, you also have a colorful cast of characters that, for the most part, are supposed to be horror tropes, and scenes that are written in a way that when they are executed right, and they are not unfortunately executed all correctly, but when they are executed right, they are on point. There are a couple of scenes that I would like to highlight in general. There is a scene where Turkey... Well, let me hold off on that for just a minute. Spoiler warning.
Admiral, we have enemy ships in Sector 27. It's a trap.
Because I am going to describe two scenes from the film. There's a scene where Turkey is going to try and stalk these teens, early 20s, 30s, 40-year-old college students. I don't know what they are. And he knocks on the door of the house of the father of Survivor Girl. And he's wearing a disguise, which is simply the Groucho Marx glasses. Well, the woman's father answers the door in a turkey outfit. So, the father thinks that Turkey is just a midget. And they just sit there and they have a conversation together at the table. Just the absurdity of all of that makes the scene. And then they follow it up with a scene where Turkey goes Leatherface style and has the face of the father just worn as a mask over his face, convincing all of our protagonists that the Turkey is indeed the main character, the main girl's father. It's that absurdity which makes this particular film so entertaining. Turkey is not a villain to be taken seriously. This movie is not to be taken seriously.
Who'd have thought the mentally disturbed had this much money?
I mean, it's a film about a killer turkey. If you're trying to take this as a serious horror movie, I gotta wonder.
I choose to believe what I was programmed to believe.
Alright, so we talked about some good. Let's talk about some bad. There are points where the jokes fall flat. One joke they repeat too many times in efforts to make it sound funny. Sometimes the timing is really off on some of the jokes, and so those jokes end up falling flat in the end. And this is a sad thing, because some of the jokes are, well, many of the jokes are genuinely funny. And I have to also admit that the Best Friends song, I thought it was entertaining the first time, but the second time, not so much. And this movie, when watched alone, is nowhere near as funny as when you're watching it with friends. And though that can be a boon in one section, it definitely detracts as you go along. But all that being said and done, this is still a very entertaining film. I really don't have many other qualms other than those things. The acting is not a bother to me because it's supposed to be bad acted. The immature jokes are fine by me because it's meant to be immature. This movie is meant to be an absurd piece done by some people fresh out of college. Actually, no, not fresh out of college, fresh in college, on a shoestring budget, and done in a tongue-in-cheek manner. Did the experiment succeed? Well, I leave that up to you to decide. Me, I give Thankskilling a 7 out of 10. One of the lines that the director had said during the commentary, I hold to heart. If you're sitting there in the movie asking question after question after question about, well, why is this? Why can't the turkey's feet hit the pedals when he's driving? How's he doing that? How did the turkey get the gun? How did the turkey do this? You don't need to be watching the film. This is not the type of film for you. Suspend your disbelief on a really, really large level and enjoy. Welcome back for our YouTube shout-out. Today's YouTube shout-out I'm going to do a little bit differently. Because I do so few of these, I'm going to try and just highlight some of my favorites, and then we'll keep moving from there. I will eventually get to everybody, but I do want to try and get some people on that highlight. And one of those is Light and Shadow Cinematic Musings. This individual is a film maker and collector. A lot of his takes, and he does also have a blog, which I'm going to try and make sure I get both of those links down below. He does an excellent job in creating some very interesting short films, but where the highlights of this page are, well, I should say the highlights are the short films, but I also really enjoy what you see as the majority of this page's posts, and that is his film collecting, or in his blog, his film analysis. Many of the films that you see on this are very different from your standard pickups. Many of us included, tend to do a lot of the big films that you've heard of on a regular basis. He finds a lot of things that I have never heard of before, and has actually led to me checking out films that I would never have seen in the past had I not discovered this channel. Now you, my dear viewers, my precious viewers, should definitely check out Light and Shadow Cinematic Musings. I'm looking forward to seeing some of his work as he continues to adapt, and I've seen some of the pictures that he has shown of an upcoming project that I am quite excited about. So get on board while you can, before you miss some of the things that might come up later. Well, this has been another YouTube shout-out, and we will see you next time on this channel. Happy Thanksgiving!